Hello and welcome to Sin and Steel. I'm your host, Sarah-Tonin, and for this one, we're joined by Tommy Wolff, vocalist and bassist for And Death Bore His Scythe and Mists of Apocrypha, reviewer for Declamator Reviews, and YouTuber and music promoter at The Wolff and the Melody. Thanks for joining me, Tommy.
Yo, what's up? How are you?
That feels like a very long intro. It's like the Daenerys Targaryen, all the, different titles. But
Yeah.
you're a man of many, many different things.
Yeah, it sounds like I am, but maybe not.
Now,
Yeah.
look, I thought it would be really interesting to have a bit of a chat with you because you cross over into both spaces of music creation and music promotion.
hmm
But to start us off, tell me a bit about yourself. So, where are you from? What got you into music and heavy music in particular?
Ooh. So I grew up a country boy and I never heard electric guitar until I was maybe past 10 years old.
Yeah, okay.
I don't really have recollection of it. And I grew up in a very conservative Christian home and when I was about 12 years old, I was in a thing called Boy Scouts
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and which was fucking awesome, by the way. I had like a really cool scout troop, so we were always doing stuff. But I remember one night we were heading over to do our weekly meeting, and I got in the car with the scout leader and her two sons, and her older son Darren put on Master of Puppets,
Nice.
and I heard that first like intro riff, and I was like, "What?" It was like being born again. It was like I heard sound. Everything made sense in life when I heard that heavy, intro, and man, that was, I would say that's the first time I heard music. Really.
Yeah. What a
It
good
was profound.
introduction.
Yeah, it was killer. So it's always been a part of me. It's always I can't get away from it. I can dive into I love music as a whole, but I'm always gonna love just extreme metal. Like
Yep.
I'm always going to love it.
Yep. So, in
hmm
regards to your YouTube work at the Wolf and the Melody, you
hmm
do a mix of content. You have interviews, reaction videos, you do shout outs to different artists across your page. And I suppose that crosses over as well into the Declamator reviews stuff, where you do the written
hmm
reviews. But how long have you been running your YouTube page for? And was there a particular like event or goal that pushed you to take the step into that space? Like, what drives you to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there was a span of life where I actually did not really dive into music or even try to discover new music. There was
Yeah.
about 10 years. Um, I was married during that time and that was an interesting time in life.
Yeah.
And it was it was interesting. And at about 10 years into the marriage, we ended up getting divorced. And I was 35 years old and I had no idea who I was. I
Yeah.
completely lost myself. And I remember I was streaming on Twitch. That was one outlet that I had. And I used to stream Dark Souls games.
Yep.
And I remember one night I was like, I need to do something else. I just need something that's a little bit more chill because when I'm streaming, I'm so focused on chat while I'm playing the game. I
Yep.
needed something to where I could just be chill and not really talking to anybody in real time and just relax. And
Yep.
I was like, you know what? There's a lot of music that I missed out on. Like I didn't go to concerts in those 10 years. I didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So like that was completely absent. And I was like, I missed out on a lot of artists and a lot of new music. So you know what? I wonder if anybody would be interested on going on like I don't know, a musical journey with me of I'm just gonna dive into music that I missed out on over these past 10
Awesome.
years. And so truly that was the focus. I've always been a bit of a people person
Yep.
and I always I struggle with small talk, so I'm kind of deep when I talk to people. So when I started doing these reviews, it wasn't to there was never a mindset of like, oh man, I wonder how many subscribers I can get and how many views I can get. I don't give a shit. I
Yeah.
don't care. Um, I realized that there was a lot of people that were going through life and a lot of heavy things, and maybe they'd like to sit down and hang out with me while I
Yep.
watch a song. That was truly it. Like I never have it in my mind to try to hit a subscriber goal, or I don't care. I care about the interaction that I get to have with the people. And on
Yeah.
top of that, I really support artists. I love that people create art. I, and if I can somehow use any bit of my platform to help somebody be seen and to
Yep.
get their music out there, then that's a win for me.
Awesome. It's really cool too, because like you said, it's some of those aspects are very much like for people coming and watching and listening and sitting to be a part of that. It's like having company without any pressure of socializing,
Yeah, yeah,
which is really nice sometimes. You can feel like you're not alone and you're enjoying something with somebody else or alongside somebody else, but there's none of the nonsense that can come along with social interactions and
yeah,
the politics or the drama or just the bullshit. So it's a really good way to kind of consume things sometimes.
yeah. We have enough shit going on in life, and I don't, and I'm not afraid to talk about my life and the things I've been through. I'm very open about myself and my story in life. So when I like review something, I'm watching it for my own sake.
Yeah.
I'm not really, you get what I mean? And so if it makes me think about something, I'm going to talk about that thing it makes me think about,
Yeah.
and if I've had people not agree, I've had people agree. Hey, it's cool, dude. Like I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
Few different reactions.
yeah, yeah, and I'm pretty civil though. So even the people that don't agree, it's always pretty chill.
Yeah.
I don't have too much
Nice.
drama.
Out of the different formats that you create, do you have a preference or something you enjoy creating most?
Ooh. I mean, I like YouTube. I love hearing new music.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, oh my God, what's this gonna do to me? What is this gonna make me feel? And I wonder what people are gonna think,
Yeah.
So and that's like that on Instagram because I only really post, you know, reactions to parts of songs that were like really cool or dynamic and
Yep.
you know,
Yep. Makes it stand out. Have
yeah.
you had a favorite interview that you've done so far as well? One that you found most
Oh,
interesting?
oh my God. So one of my favorite bands of all time is Septic Flesh.
Yep.
And I was able to sit and talk with Satirus, who he does like the clean vocal work and the he writes the lyrics to
Yep.
Septic Flesh. And I'm big on lyrics. I write my own lyrics and sitting down with him was fucking awesome. And Aaron from Wolves in the Throne Room was really great.
Yep.
Um damn, there's been some really Francisco from Flesh God Apocalypse, like
Yeah.
yeah, and I actually met up with them later, like right after we interviewed, so it was really
Fantastic.
cool. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
you've
really killer.
interviewed a few interesting people for sure.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
one on the list that I'd interviewed as well, which was Andy from Saw.
Oh God, love Andy.
He was awesome. He was so
He is
lovely
great.
and just very humble. Like he's so
Hmm.
blasé about his work. Like you're like, mate, you've created this awesome music. And he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, what's the deep spiritual meaning behind, the woods and the stuff you're talking about? And he's like, yeah, I'll just create it. I'm like, cool, dude.
It's awesome. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
lovely. No,
yeah.
that's
He's a
great.
really cool dude.
I hadn't really put any prompts here for this one, but I guess I don't get to talk a lot to people who are interviewing other people. And even though I've been doing them for a while now, the format for me has changed quite significantly.
Hmm.
And I feel like every time I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of it and doing all right, I fuck something up. And then I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? I need to rearrange how I'm doing it. Um, what do you put in when you're trying to prepare for an interview and thinking about the different questions that you ask? Um, well, here I am. I don't even know exactly what question I'm asking. Um,
What
like what,
like what's my
how do
how do
you
I prepare?
prepare? Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning. in the beginning, I didn't want to be the typical interviewer that was like that asked the basic shit. I really wanted to open the artist up. I wanted them
Yep.
to be deep. I wanted them to talk about things that maybe they weren't asked. And even with that, you don't know what an artist is like talking in person, right? You
Yep.
don't know how somebody's going to respond to you.
Yep.
You could come in and want to have this deep conversation. They could be having a shitty day and they don't want to get deep.
Yep.
So there was this one, I forget her name, but she does interviews as well. And she said that one of the big things that really helped her out was she had some focal points.
Mm.
She would put down some focal points, but that was it. She
Yes.
would really focus on how was the person responding, you know what I mean? Like little entry points and see how they react. And I
Yep.
remember when I heard that, I started doing that and it helped the conversation be more organic. So it didn't feel like, okay, question one, question two, question three.
Yep.
Like, let's say you and I are talking and you say something I find very interesting. Hey, let's continue that trail. So have a few points, but watch the person.
Yeah.
Watch it how
Everybody's
they respond to you.
so different. So, so
Yeah.
different. And
Hmm.
you can even see how, like, sometimes you can see how people might interact online in different ways, but then, yeah, speaking to them is very different. And like you said, one day could be different to the next. And yeah, it can take quite a bit to adjust to the different way that people speak, the way that they approach certain questions. And yeah, there's always that tricky side of how much do they want to disclose. Some people only want to give you the
Yeah.
basics. That's all they're prepared to do. They're like, I just want to promote my album. I don't want to talk about any of the other shit.
Yeah.
Whereas other people want to give you their life story or get
Hmm.
into all the nitty gritty. And both are good, but it can be tricky sometimes to find the right balance. And I think that's something that I feel like I'm still working through every time I interview someone is still trying to improve that process and get better at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't overthink it. I would literally, you know what I mean? This is growing your people skills.
Yeah.
It's helping you out a lot, probably more than you realize. And
Yes.
just watching their mannerisms. Oh, I can't speak tonight. And just watching how they
Yep.
respond to you,
Oh, I think it's helped me even in like work and stuff, having to do
Mhm.
presentations and training and run meetings and things like that at work. I feel like that's all improved over the time that I've been doing these sorts of things
I believe
too.
it.
But yeah, there are times that I doubt myself, but it's good to, I think it's really cool to be able to talk about that with someone who knows what that's like as well, because I don't often get to speak to people who are doing that same thing.
You want to know what one of my biggest struggles with interviewing people
What's that?
was? I know that I'm a very passionate, kind of intense person.
Yep.
It's hard for me to be very surface with people. I want to go deeper.
Yeah.
Some people are not like that. And for the longest time, I would get done an interview and I would say, I'm too much for people. And I'm serious. And I would beat
Yep.
myself up being, I'm too sensitive or I'm too emotional or I'm too. And I remember talking to Francisco from Flesh God, and we talked about that. And when I met him before his show, we were hanging out and talking, and I brought that up to him. And I said, "Hey, man, we were talking about like some stuff, and I brought that up to him, and I remember he like puts his hand on my shoulder and like stops me from talking, and he's like, Tommy, you're just fine. That you're not too much. And if people can't handle
Wonderful.
that, fuck them. Like for real."
Yep.
There's something special about each and every one of us, and we
Yep.
can't we gotta be cool with that. We're not everybody's gonna if a you can have the greatest intentions in the world, but if somebody doesn't vibe with it, that's okay,
Yeah.
you know.
And I think that's one of the good things about having lots of different people that do these types of things as well is they bring different voices, they bring different ideas to the table and different approaches, and different people will um, enjoy those different aspects. So someone that might not like my interviews might really love yours or vice
Yeah,
versa because
yeah,
they connect with you differently to how they do someone else. And I think that's fine. And we need those different approaches to be able to really push the different artists and support their music and get
yeah.
that stuff out there. But yeah, awesome. So if you were to recommend One video to your viewers as a starting point of yours, what would you suggest?
Oh my God, dude. I've done like 2000. Oh
Are
God.
you? I'm
Oh
like,
shit.
in comparison to, I'm like, my YouTube page is like this big. It's a baby. I
Dude,
have got multiple formats, but
so
so yeah, mine's a
you want
drop in
you
the bucket compared to your ocean of videos.
yeah, what's really funny is America, like my statistics, America is not my number one viewers.
Yep,
So it's Sweden and
yep,
then Norway, then America. So I listen to a lot of metal.
yep,
But I also listen to folk. There's other stuff sprinkled in there. I have patrons that send me stuff and they can throw curveballs at me.
yep.
Um, Honestly, I've done a lot, and if you love metal, go and search, be like, look and see if I've listened to this or whatever. That's really what I would do. There's a lot.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love that. So in terms of music, I'd really love for us to talk a little bit about your debut single with And Death Bore His Scythe. But
hmm
before we do that, you mentioned to
hmm
me that you didn't start playing or creating music until later in life. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Yeah. So, little disclaimer, it does have to do with like when I was married or whatever. And I don't mean to like, I'm very honest about situations, so I'm not throwing shade at my ex-wife, but I messed around with the guitar for a little bit before I met her, and like I said, I used to be very religious, and I used to play in church,
Yep,
and I played guitar. I loved guitar. I always wanted to create and make, and I ended up meeting her, and she wasn't a fan of my music. She didn't like my music, and
yep,
I'm a I'm a bit romantic and I like to show my person that they're important to me and if I'm doing something that bothers them, I'm willing to cut things out. I say that now, I would never do that.
yeah.
But 15 years ago, I was in a different place mentally. So,
It's something that's hard to understand until you're on the other side of it, but it's that difference between making alterations to things because you care about someone without impacting or taking away from who you are and the things that are important to yourself. And I can completely relate to that. I had a 10-year relationship with someone who broke down everything, and I came out of that on the other side. Same thing. Who the fuck am I? What happened to all these things I loved?
yeah.
How do you get yourself back after that? So, yeah, very
Yeah,
much understand that.
relationships, little tangent, but relationships are meant to be you are your own individual soul and
Yep.
you're just walking a path with somebody else. You have to be yourself and cheer each other on while
Yep.
you're together in love, you know. Anyway,
Yep.
um, so I gave up my guitar playing to show them that they were important to me.
Yep.
And I didn't, like I said, no concerts, no music, whatever. So I thought this was like my forever. And then obviously it was not. So I fast forward, divorce, YouTube starts, and I come across one of the coolest fucking people I ever met, and his name is James Hess. And James Hess is he's phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal musician, but he's a phenomenal dude. And I have a lot of love for him, man. I'm a like I told you, I'm kind of a sensitive person. So when I think about these people that mean a lot, James is fucking awesome. And he was with me in the beginning. He
Yep.
found me early in my journey. And he messaged me one day and he sent me a song of his. And I remember driving to work and I'm listening to this song and it was like 20 minutes long. And I was like,
Was it
holy
prog or
shit.
doom? I
Um,
feel like 20
it
minutes long. It's either prog, doom,
like
or black metal.
imagine like 20 minutes of winter sun,
Yeah,
like
okay.
that style, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm sitting there driving and I am literally like, why does no one know who you are, James? Like I'm blown away. And I
Yep.
message him and I that kind of started our friendship, you know. We were talking all the time and whatever, and I am just in awe of him. I really admire him. And I remember telling him, it was like right before Christmas 2 years ago, I said, James, I don't know if you'd be interested, but I want to be able to say I wrote an album.
Yep.
And at this time, I haven't picked my guitar back up. I haven't done anything. I had no vocal training, nothing. And I said, if you're willing to work with me and write one album with me, no expectation. I'm not talking about trying to go do it live. I just want to be able to record something and put it out on a vinyl or a CD and say, wow, dude, before I died, I created something that I'm
Yep.
proud of for myself and for him. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And oh, and I told him, I said, if you do this, I'll learn how to like do vocals and I will fucking give it my all. Like
Yep.
I will do it. And he said, let's do it. And then a couple months later, we released, that's when we started Mists of Apocrypha, which is like a symphonic death metal. It's very fantasy focused.
Yep.
So I am the champion of nature's domain. The heartbeat in every drum of rain. My power vast and dust and night. Yeah, and so I never really I never did vocals like that, like a real proper. I started like learning and just applying myself, and we recorded that, and yeah, that was the start of it, and it's gone beyond what I expected.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how did you kind of overcome the hurdles that were in front of you and that feeling of, I'm older, should I pick this up? Is it too late? Can I go and do this?
Mm.
What managed to get you over that edge and go, no, no, fuck this, I'm doing it.
Do you want to know today? Today, I literally looked up a video on YouTube of people in their mid 30s learning guitar.
Yep.
It's not something it's a battle because all of us, if we have reached our 30s and if we haven't really done something that we were truly, maybe we dreamed of when we were younger and it didn't really happen in our 20s, it's very easy to feel like, well, we're fucked.
Yeah.
It's too late. And that is like the biggest load of shit. And I have to tell myself when I feel those like feelings of like, nah, dude, nah, you have to push out the feelings and you just have to do. If my fingers can still move, if I can still hear, if I'm healthy, I can still do.
Yeah.
And I have to believe in myself more than I think I believe in myself. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yep.
You, yeah.
Put a little bit more faith just in what you can do.
We're incredible. Humans are incredible, and we're kind of programmed that when we reach 30, we're downhill, and that's not true. I believe 30 through 50 is our prime. I believe
Yep.
we're mature, and I think that if we would stop listening to what everybody says in society, we can really get a lot of shit done. Like
Yep.
Samuel L. Jackson didn't he didn't get his first break till he was in his 40s.
Yeah, which is just
Think about that.
mental. That's insane.
Powerwolf, the band Powerwolf,
Hmm.
they didn't get their big break until I think they were like 40, like in their 40s.
Yeah, yeah, Powerwolf are incredible. And their journey is really interesting to watch as well because they they had a vision. You could see early on they had a vision of what they wanted to do, but they clearly didn't kind of have the funding or the ability to do what they wanted. Um, but once they were able to kind of progress enough and slowly get closer to that vision, it helped pick them up and get them to take off and
Yeah.
get to where they wanted to be. But you can see it in their early shows and all the early music. They knew what they wanted to do. They just didn't have the capacity yet. But once they had
Yeah.
the support, they got there.
But can you imagine if they were just to be like, well, I guess this is all it is. There has to be a level
Yep.
of oomph inside of us
Yep.
to push ourselves beyond the viewers.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, would you have any particular advice for anyone who is looking to or interested in doing those sorts of things and getting out and creating and learning something new, but are procrastinating?
You have to start small.
Yep.
We overestimate the power of little steps every day. It's
Yep.
just like weight loss. It's just like taking care of yourself. We really make mountains out of anthills. and just take a deep moment. And if you want to do something if you want to do something and when you start to think about that, it feels overwhelming because it feels like it's too much, take a deep breath and look at it objectively. Okay, I want to be here. Okay, let's look at what's the first step I need to do. Well, I probably need to start here and just practice on this. Okay, don't think about that. Focus on that little bit.
Yeah.
It's powerful, you know?
Yeah. So in March this year, you dropped the debut track for And Death Bore His Scythe, which was The
Yeah.
Moaning Well. I'd love to
Yeah.
know a little bit about how that project formed, and what have you set out to do with this one?
Ooh. So another person that came across my path, was a fucking legendary dude named Jake Dedelich. And like just like James, I have a lot of love for this guy. Him and I
Yeah.
are just apart from music, we're like best dudes. And I met him through this journey. We got together and he lives a couple hours away from me, so he frequently comes up and watches. We go to concerts together.
Awesome.
And one night, we were talking about doing music together, and Jake is fucking incredible. He's an amazing drummer, amazing guitar player. He's really great. And we were sitting on the couch and we were watching Evil Dead. And we're sitting there, and I was like, "Man, I fucking love Evil Dead." And he's like, "I love it too." And and I remember I said we should write a song inspired by like Evil Dead. And he
Yeah.
goes, "Yeah, yeah, dude, that sounds great." And I said, "You know what, man?" I said, "I got some lyrics I wrote about a dude that has to fuck a succubus." And I hope is cussing okay on your thing?
Yeah, it's fine. I have to cut it on
Okay.
the radio, but on everything else, it's perfectly okay.
Okay. So I said I have a song about like a succubus that needs to get fucked because she's cursed by Jesus because she fucked Jesus and
Yeah.
she needs to get free. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." So we're sitting in my like living room and we're sitting there and we write that song in like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
And our focus with and death that's a fun song because it's groovy, it's
Yeah.
punchy, it's definitely like a crowd song. It's like gets people in the mood, right? The mood. But
I know, I
we
love how you've been like doing all those promos, by the way, talking about this wonderful love song.
it is
That's giving me
beautiful.
a lot of laughs.
Yeah. So with And Death Bore His Scythe, we wanted to really like embrace like black and death metal and have like a project that is basically our love of death metal. So like
Yep.
I love the headbang, I love groovy head like chugging riffs, and that's what we want to create. But also
Yep.
too, on top of talking about like horror movies and shit, I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about with what I don't like about the world,
Hmm.
and this is an outlet for that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to talk about why I don't like religion and why I don't like this and da 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 da. So it's a mix of things, and just writing really groovy, disgusting death metal for people to headbang to. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So, yeah,
I mean, what more do you need?
yeah, dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But Jake's a legend, man, and again, you know, I see beyond just a dude that I'm writing music with.
Yep.
When I with all these people that I connect with and meet, I'm very relational. So for me, I'm thinking of with everybody I meet, every connection you talking to you, I think about what it's going to be like when we're old and all these people that we've had these great conversations with and these great moments and great memories, we're going to look back and go, "You remember that time that we like talked about that? Or remember that time, you know, we met up and went to that show?" Remember, that's very, very important to me,
Yep. Yep.
you know?
No, I love that.
Yeah.
And so what's next in that space then? I know the other project you were talking about, you said it was kind of no pressure for gigging or anything like that. Is this one part of an upcoming album or EP? Are there plans to tour it? What's next within that space?
Woo. So, yeah, we're about to release our next single for Mists of Apocrypha. And it's It's epic, dude. Like it's so epic. I sometimes when I go back and like listen to it as we're preparing, I'm like, wait a minute, we did this. Like it's really like fucking epic.
Yep.
And I don't want to put anything in a box. In the beginning, I was like, let's write an album and I'll do singing, right? Now I'm like, I told James and Jake, I said, dude, with these projects, I have no expectation, but I'm gonna do my due diligence to help promote and do whatever and see what happens, whatever
Yep.
happens. If we can get to a place where we're able to perform and tour and whatever, that would be amazing. That would be, but again, both albums we're working on, both projects have both albums, and
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see what
Yep.
happens.
But both on the go at the same time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice. Okay, so there'll
hmm
be a little bit to look forward to then.
Yeah, and then I write. I've been starting to write my own stuff. So like, I'm doing a. I don't think I'm doing a lot, but I'm that kind of person. I'm always moving.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. No, that's awesome. Is the other stuff different genre, similar styles? Where's that one going?
Ooh, I'm still trying to figure out the sound.
Okay.
Um, but I'm a big fan of like folk, but I also love like black metal a lot, and
Yep.
I also am a big fan of Opeth. I've been listening to a lot of Opeth recently. Again, like I'm always listening to them, but
Yep.
and I don't know. I don't know. I'm still figuring things out. Right now, I'm just really just I've never had recording equipment.
Yep.
I've always
Okay.
worked, so now this is more me just like let's see what happens.
Yeah. But so you've got that equipment now and are playing around with that?
hmm
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Is there a particular kind of creative process for you? Do you have ways that you get in the zone or manage kind of that writing or recording process?
So because I didn't touch the instrument for a long time, I've been really working on just getting up to speed with staying on time and
Yep.
building my rhythm and it's funny, I used to always struggle in the past writing like riffs. I could
Yep.
never write completed parts, but since like picking it back up and playing with, Jake a lot and everything, I've started to discover that I was like, man, maybe I'm not as bad as I think I was. And so stuff is coming out, and I'll just put that right there, and we'll see if it comes back up or something. So,
Yep.
um, right now, I try to focus on I'm just trying to get back in the swing of things, being tight, being on point, and staying in time.
Yep. Yep. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
Look, it sounds like you've got quite a bit going on, and I'd be really interested to hear more once you know where those other projects are going
for
and
sure.
those other albums. So if you're ever interested, maybe we could do a follow-up, talk in depth a little bit more about those
Absolutely.
other ones. And if there's anything else we want to dive a little bit deeper into, we can do that in another chat. But my final question for today
Mhm.
is just where can people find and support your music?
Mm. Everything's on YouTube and Spotify,
Yep.
everywhere. So the first project is Mists of Apocrypha, which is, I said we have another single coming out really soon.
Yep.
And then And Death Bore His Scythe, all on Spotify, YouTube. Boom.
Excellent. And look, as always, I'll make sure all the links are in the description of the episode
Hell
so
yeah.
people can jump straight across, make it nice and easy. And look, thanks again for jumping on, Tommy. It's been really great chatting. Really enjoyed
You're
that.
awesome. You're awesome and you're doing a great job. And you have to remember like you're affecting more people than you realize with these interviews. So don't ever think that you're not doing enough or that you are.
Thank you.
And
I
it
really
reaches out.
appreciate that.
So keep your head up and keep kicking ass.
No, I appreciate that. And
Mhm.
look, thank you to everyone who stopped by for this one. If you enjoyed the interview, make sure to like, subscribe, and make sure you drop us a comment letting us know what you think of the Moaning Well. And until next time, stay metal.
Later.